Hi everyone, welcome back to Creative Cove. So today we're going to be diving into the exciting world of customer relationship management, or CRM, and how you can build your own within Notion. So before we jump into the nitty-gritty of creating our CRM, let's start with the basics. So firstly, what exactly is a personal CRM? So a CRM, or as I said, a customer relationship manager, is a tool that helps you to manage and keep track of your relationships with people. So in the case of a personal CRM, you manage your personal relationships. So it's kind of like having a digital address book, a calendar, and a personal assistant all rolled into one. And it's not just about storing contact information, it's also about leveraging that information to build stronger connections and also to stay organized. Now you might be wondering, why do I even need a personal CRM? Well, here's a few reasons. Firstly, relationship building. A personal CRM helps you keep track of all your important relationships, whether they're friends, family, colleagues, or mentors. This means that you can remember important details about them, like their birthdays, their preferences, and also any previous interactions. Next, it helps you stay organized. So with a personal CRM, you can keep your life more organized. There's no more missed birthdays or forgotten commitments. You can set birthday reminders, and you can even plan your social interactions. Finally, improved communication. So a CRM can actually help you communicate more effectively by providing context for each interaction. So imagine actually being able to reference your last conversation with a person before making that important phone call. Now let's take a tour of the template. So we're going to start on the overview tab here. So as you can see, this gives an overview of every single person within the CRM. So it shows their photo, their name, what type of relationship we have with them, their birthday, their industry, and also a little reminder on if we need to catch up with them soon. So this little reminder here that says time to catch up will show up whenever you haven't contacted that person in at least 3 months. So you can set this interval yourself, so you could change it to 1 month or 6 months or whatever you like. Next we have the all contacts tab. So here we have a table that shows all of the contacts within the CRM and the key details about them. So again, it covers the relationship, so there's a ton of options to choose from here, like friend, family, colleague, school, network, whatever you like. You can really customize this list to be more applicable to you. You can also select more than one, so if you feel that someone is a friend and a colleague, you can select multiple things here, as you can see. Next, you can input their exact birthday here. So this is a great way to keep track of people's birthdays, as it can really strengthen a connection if you do remember it. The next column here is age. So this is actually a formula, so you don't have to work this out yourself and update it every year. It actually works it out automatically for you based on the birthday that you put in here. So this is really handy because it can help you keep track of milestone birthdays. So for example, if you can see someone is 29, you know that their 30th birthday will be coming up soon, so you might want to plan something special. The next column is where you can select a person's industry. So this might not be relevant to you, but if you're using the CRM for networking purposes, then this may be useful. So you can input as many different options as you like and just build this up over time. Next, we have just a text column, and this is where you can input the person's company. So it's just nice to be able to keep track of the company that the person works for. So next we have this select property for location. So for most people these days, we have friends, family, and other connections all over the world. So it can be really handy to know where a person is located just at a glance. Next, we have this VIP checkbox here. So this is actually an idea that I got from a Jeff Sue video. You can essentially just select this checkbox if you really want to focus on building your relationship with this person. It's kind of just an easy way to filter them out of the main contact list. We actually have a VIP view, which I'm going to show you in a second. Then I have a last contacted column. So this is where you can select the date on which you last contacted that person. So this could be an in-person meeting, or it could be a message or an email. It's just a way to keep track of when you last were in touch with that person. Then based on this last contacted column, we have this status column, and this will update automatically. So if you haven't contacted that person in more than 3 months, it will then give you a reminder that you need to catch up with them like this. Otherwise, it will just show a thumbs up. You can also click on each individual person to show more information about them. So let's click on this one. So I have added in a template here that allows you to record things like their family, their work, their likes and dislikes, and you can also make notes down here on things that you've discussed recently. I also have this little contact section where you can note down the main way that you would contact them, their email address, their phone. You can even record things like their home address if you want to as well. So next we have this VIPs tab. So this tab is essentially the exact same as the all contacts tab. The only difference is that it's filtered by anyone that is checked as VIP. As these are the people that you're currently focusing on building relationships with, you can use this tab to keep track of them. Finally, we have this birthdays tab, which shows the contacts who have their birthday this month. It's currently empty because nobody in my CRM has a birthday this month. So let me just change one to show you how it would appear. So if I just go back on here, let's change this birthday here to September. Okay, so if I now click on birthdays, as you can see, it's now bringing up Rachel as the person who this month has a birthday. And then just underneath here, I do have a calendar view, which allows you to schedule meetups with people within your CRM. So each card will show an overview of the meetup, who it's with and where it will take place. So next I'm going to show you how you can build this CRM for yourself. So the first thing we're going to do is type in /database and select database in line. I'm going to name this database personal CRM, and I'm just going to click on these 3 dots and hide the title. Let's start by adding a few names to the table so that we have something to work with. Okay, so now that I've done that, I am just going to click on this tags property, and I'm just going to change the name from tags to relationship. So this is where we're going to select what type of relationship we have with this person. So firstly, I'm going to add some options. So if I just click on relationship and edit property, over here I can add some options. So I'll click on add an option, and we'll start with friend, family, school, and so on. So I've just added some options here. So this is completely customizable. Feel free to pick options that suit you, but this is the list that I'm going with. Next, I'm just going to select the relationship for each person. The next thing we're going to do is add another property by clicking on this plus symbol, and I'm going to type in date and select this date property. So this one is going to be the person's birthday, so that's what I'm going to label it as. You can then click on this box here and select their birthday. You can use these little arrows to move between the months, but if you're putting in someone's birthday, it's probably easier just to type it in up here. So let's just put in a few examples. Okay, so I've just filled in the birthdays there. So the next thing I'm going to do is add a formula to work out the current age of the person. So I'm going to click on another property and type in formula and select formula. This one I'm going to name age. Next, I'm going to click on formula edit, and that is going to bring up this little panel where we can actually write in our formula. So to work out the age of the person, we're going to use the date between function. So you're going to want to type in date, and then under these functions, it should bring up date between. So if you just select that, it will look like this. So this date between function can essentially count the time between 2 dates. So you can set it to years, days, months. In this case, obviously we're going to use years. So firstly, I need to tell it which 2 dates I want it to count between. So we're going to start by putting in now and an open and close parentheses. So that's telling it that one of the dates is the current day of today. So this will obviously update every single day, but it will always know to count the current day. We're then going to type in a comma, and next we're going to tell it the second date that we want it to use. So in this case, we want it to use the birthday date that we've inputted. So I'm going to click here on birthday, which is the property from the table, and it will look like this. Next, we're going to put in another comma, and next we need to tell it what unit of measure we want it to use. So in this case, I want it to figure out the years, but you could do, as I say, do months or days, but obviously in this case, years is more appropriate. So I'm going to put some quotation marks and type in years and close the quotation marks like this. And then I'm just going to close the parentheses. So if I click done, as you can see now in this age column, it is now working out the current age of each person. But I would like it to say years old. So I want it to say 51 years old. So if I go back on the formula here, so what I'm going to do is I want to tell it to format this number and then format the words years old. So to do that, we need to write format at the start and open a parentheses. I'm then just going to close the parentheses again at the end, and I'm going to type in plus, and inside some little quotation marks like this, I'm just going to put whatever text I want to appear afterwards. So I'm going to start by putting in a space so that there is a space between the number and the words, and I'm just going to type years old. Then I'll click done, and as you can see, it's now formatting the age and it says years old afterwards. So if you remember on the example, we did have a page where it would show who's got their birthday coming up this month. So to be able to set up that page, I do need to know when their next birthday is. So I will need another column which calculates when their next birthday is. So what we're going to do is click on this plus symbol again and type in formula, because we're going to use another formula to work this out. And this one I'm going to label next birthday. And again, I'll click on formula edit to input the formula in here. So to work out their next birthday, the math I'm going to use is their current birthday, add their current age, and then I'll also need to add another 1 for another extra year to get the next birthday. So essentially what we're going to do firstly is I'm going to click back on age, click edit property, head into formula, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy part of this formula. So I don't want the bit with the years old on it, I just want this bit with the date between up until here. So you want to highlight this part of the formula and copy it. We're then going to go back into next birthday, edit the property, formula edit, and I'm just going to paste that in. So that was the formula that works out the current age. So if I have a look in the next birthday, is bringing up the current age. Okay, so back into the formula. So the first thing I want to do is I want to add 1 onto it. So I'm just going to type in add 1. So that's going to add 1 more year, because I need to work out this person's 52nd birthday rather than their 51st birthday. So I need to add 1 onto it. into it. Next, we want to add this number that we have in here to the birthday. So what we're going to do is use a date add property. So you want to type in date add like this with a capital A and open the bracket and space. So in this case, I want to add it to the birthday. So I'm going to go down here into our properties and select birthday. And I'm just going to put a comma next to it. So this is what we have so far. So this is indicating that we want to add something to this date, the date in question, the birthday. This little formula here is working out the number that we want to add to the birthday. And finally, we just need to tell it what we want this number to be added to. So in this case, we want it to be added in years. So as opposed to, we don't want it to add 52 days or 52 weeks to the birthday. We need it to add 52 years to the birthday. So I'm simply just going to type in years like this and close it off with another bracket. And there we go. I'm just going to click done. And as you can see in this column, it is now bringing up that person's next birthday. Okay, so next we're going to add an industry selector. So I'm going to click on this plus symbol and type in select. And this one is going to be industry. So we're going to add some options by clicking add an option. So this again is completely customizable. Feel free to include industries that are more relevant to you. You might not want to include every single industry that exists if you don't know anyone in those industries. So I'm just going to add some here. Okay, so as you can see, I've now added all of these different options here. And now I can go back into here and just select the appropriate industry for each person. Next, we're going to click on this plus symbol again to add another property. This one is just going to be a text property, so I'm just going to type in text. And this one is going to be company. So this is where you can input the name of the company that the person works for. Okay, so I've just filled that in here. Next, we're going to add a location property. So I'm going to again click on the plus, and this one is going to be a select property, and I'm going to name it location. So in here, we're going to add different options for the different locations. So this again is going to be based on your own network and where people are located. So just add in any locations that are relevant to you. So as you can see, I've just added in a few locations here, and I'm now just going to select the location for each of these people. The next thing we're going to add is the VIP checkbox so that we can label people as VIP. So I'm going to click again on the plus and type in checkbox. And this one we're just going to label VIP, and I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller so it doesn't take up so much room. And next we're going to add a last contacted date property. So this is where you input the last time that you actually contacted that person. So again, clicking on the plus and typing in date, and we're just going to name this one last contacted. So if I click on this box, I'm just going to select the date or the approximate date that I last contacted each of these people. And then finally, we are going to add the status property. So that's where it will show up if you need to catch up with that person. So we're going to add another property. And again, this one is going to be a formula. And I'm going to label this one status and click on formula edit to actually type in the formula. So in this case, we're going to use an if formula. So I wanted to say something along the lines of, if I've not contacted this person in more than 3 months, it's time to catch up. Otherwise, we're good. So we're going to use an if statement. So if I type in if and open a parentheses, so in this case, we need to work out the time between now and our last contacted date to see if it's more or less than 3 months. So again, we're going to use that date between function to work that out. So firstly, we need to tell it the 2 dates that it needs to work out the difference between. So we'll start by typing in now and open and close parentheses. So that's just telling it that we want one of the dates to be the current date. And the second one is going to be the last contacted date. So I can just scroll down here and look for the last contacted property and select that, and it will input it in for me. Next, I'm going to write in a comma, and we need to tell it which unit of measure it needs to use. So in this case, I'm using months. If you want to use days or years or anything, you can type that in. But for this one, I'm just going to put some quotation marks and write months in between. And then I'm just going to close the parentheses. So that's going to work out the months between the last time we contacted them and today. So now I want to know if this amount of months is more or less than 3. So to do that, I'm going to type in more than 3, comma, and then I'm going to write what I want it to do if that number is more than 3. So I'm going to type in 2 quotation marks, and inside I'm just going to write time to catch up. You can also add emojis in here if you like. Then we're going to put a comma, and this is where you write otherwise do this. So I'm going to put some more quotation marks, and inside I'm just going to put the thumbs up like this. And then the final thing you need to do is just add another parentheses on the end and click done. So that's now working out that these dates are all more than 3 months ago, so it's saying it's time to catch up. Whereas for me, it's currently September, so these dates here are within 3 months, so it's just showing the thumbs up. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is to create the page that opens when you click on a person, and it's where you can add a few more details like notes about them, their background, their likes and dislikes. So the way that we're going to do that is I'm just going to hover over here, and when we have this new button, I'm just going to click on the little arrow and I'm going to select new template. That's going to then open up this page here. So firstly, I'm just going to click on this little button here, and that's going to open that up into a full page. It just makes it a little bit easier to work with. So I'm going to leave the title blank, so that's going to just be the name of the person. So I'm going to fill that in when I actually add people. I am going to add an icon. So I'm just going to select this little person icon here. And then if I just scroll down, as you can see, we have this space down here that we can write. So the first thing I'm going to do is just click on these three little dots up here, and I'm just going to select full width. That's just going to make it a bit wider so there's more space to add things. And then just down here, this is where you're actually going to input the template. So you can really customize this and make it your own. So for me, I'm going to make sure I have somewhere where I can record their family, their likes and dislikes, their contact information, and a space for me to create notes on conversations that we've had. So this space works like any other Notion space. You can just type in /H2 and family, and I can just make some notes on what I want to record about each person. Okay, so this is the template that I've come up with. You can either just copy this one or create your own. So once you're happy with your template, you can just click on this back button here, and again, just click the back button again. So next we want to add that template to all of the people in the list. So on each person, I'm just going to click open, and I'm just going to select here, this is our template that we've just created, and it's just going to automatically add that icon, and in a second it's going to, as you can see, it's now loading the template. So I'm just going to do that for every person on the list, and it would be great if that template could be automatically added every time I add a new person to the list. So to do that, again, I'm just going to click on the little arrow here, and next to the template we've created, click on the three dots and click set as default and select for all views. So what that's now done is every time I add a new person down here, it will automatically add that template, so I don't have to bother going in and adding it myself. So let's just add another row. And as you can see, it's automatically added that icon, and if I open this page, the template is already there for me to use. So this table that we've created is the all contacts page. So I'm just going to rename this to all contacts, and I'll just change the icon as well. So now what I want to do is create that overview page. So if I just scroll back up, if you remember, on the overview page, we had this nice little overview where it shows a few details about the person and a photo. So to create that page, I'm just going to click on this all contacts tab and click duplicate. This one I'm going to name overview, and I'll just select a different icon, and I'm just going to move that to the front. So the overview page is actually a gallery view rather than a table. So to change it to a gallery view, I'm going to click on these three little dots, click on layout and select gallery. Next, what we want to do is we want to change the card preview. So it's currently page content, so it's showing that template that we made because that is the content of the page currently. But I actually want it to show a cover photo. So I'm going to click on card preview and change it to page cover. Currently I've not added the photos, so that's why it's showing up blank, but I will add them in a second and show you how to do that. Next, I'm just going to go back and click on properties. So this is where we can decide which properties we want to display on the card. So here are all the different properties that we added. So I think for this one, I'm going to show relationship. So to unhide it, I'm just going to click on this symbol here. And as you can see, it now appears. The status, so I can see if I need to catch up with that person, their birthday, and the industry. You can also play around with the order. So for example, I want the status to be at the bottom like that. The next thing I'll show you how to do is how to add the photo. So you may or may not want to add photos. If you don't want the photo to show, you can switch it off by clicking on these dots, selecting layout, and under card preview, select none. So as you can see, it now doesn't show a photo at all. But if you want the photo to show, select page cover. So if I click on Rachel as an example, to add a photo, you want to click here where it says add cover. That is then going to automatically add just a random cover photo. So to change it, you want to click on change cover, and this is going to give you various different options. So if you have a photo already, you can upload it here. You can also use the link feature. So this is where you can paste in a link to an image, and Notion will automatically grab the image and import it into the system. I personally find this is a much quicker and easier way to add photos. So you can use any photo that you can find online. So for example, if this is your personal network, you might find them on social media. So if you go on Facebook and find a picture of someone, you can copy the link to that image and paste it in here, and Notion will grab the image for you, so you don't have to bother downloading it and uploading it. So to get the link, firstly you need to navigate over to an image. So in this case, I'm using Google Images, but if you're using social media, you can just do the exact same thing. Just go onto Facebook, Instagram, and select the picture that you want. So once you found the picture, you want to right click on it and click copy image address. Back over in Notion, I'm just going to click on this page again and go back to change cover, link, and I'm just going to paste in that link and click submit. I'll take a few seconds, but then it will load. I'm back on the home page. As you can see, it's now pulling through that image. Sometimes it will pick an awkward crop like this one, so you can click on this reposition to reposition it. So I'm just going to pull it down a bit. like that. So you can just do that for everyone within the CRM. Okay, so I've just added some photos for each person within the CRM. Next, we're just going to go back to this all contacts page, and I'm just going to click on it again and click duplicate. So this one is going to be our VIP page. So it's just going to show only the people that have been ticked as VIP. So I'm going to call it VIP, and I'm just going to change the icon here as well. So firstly, I'm just going to tick a few of these boxes just so that something will show up. And it's actually pretty simple to sort this by VIP. So I'm just going to click on this filter button up here, and we want to sort by VIP. And in this case, we only want people to show up where VIP is checked. So if I select that, as you can see, it's now just bringing up the people where VIP is selected. Once again, I'm just going to click on all contacts and click duplicate. So this one is going to be the page that brings up whose birthday is coming up this month. So I'm going to call it birthdays, and I'll just change the icon again. This one, I don't actually want it to come up in a table like this. I want it to come up in a list. So I'm going to click on layout and change it to list. Next, I'm going to decide what properties I want it to show. So it's already bringing up the relationship, which is great. I also just want it to bring up the exact birthday, so I know exactly which day the person's birthday is. So then I just need to sort it by whose birthday is this month. So I'm going to add a filter on here. And if you remember earlier, we made this formula that works out their next birthday. So I'm going to click on next birthday, and I want it to only show up people whose birthday is this month. So as you can see, now that we've added that filter, it's just bringing up one person who has a birthday this month, and it will tell me who that person is and when their birthday is. So that is the CRM. The final thing that I want to show you is how to create this calendar view where you can actually add events or meetups with each individual person, and it will be linked up to the CRM. So just underneath, I'm going to type in /calendar and select calendar view. It's going to ask me which database I want to use as a base. In this case, I actually want to create a brand new database. So I'm just going to click new database, and that's going to bring up a calendar like this. I'm just going to give it a name, and I'm going to just call it calendar, and I'm just going to click on the dots and hide the title. The first thing that we're going to do is I'm just going to add an event or a meetup so that we have something to work with. So to do that, I'm just going to click on this plus symbol, and that's going to add a new event. This one I'm just going to call Coffee with Rachel. So firstly, it's going to bring up the date. I actually also want to display the time that I'm going to meet them. So if I click on date, and just here it will say include time, so I'm going to toggle that on, so it will now include a time. So let's say that we're going to meet for coffee at 3 p.m. As you can see, it now includes the time as well as the date. Next, I'm just going to click on this tags property and delete it, because again, it's not something we need. But I am going to add another property here, and this one is just going to be a text property. And I'm going to name this one location, because I want a place where I can just write in where I'm going to be meeting this person. So I'll just fill that in. So the final thing I want to add is I want to be able to select which person from my CRM I'm actually meeting with. So I need to find a way to connect this calendar with my CRM. So what we're going to do is add a new property, and this one is going to be a relation property. So this essentially just relates to databases together. So I'm currently in my calendar, so I want to relate it to my personal CRM. So I'm going to select that. So I'm going to bring up this page. So firstly, it's just going to tell me which database I selected to relate to. So in this case, it was my CRM. So you just want to double check that you click the right one. Then it's going to ask me if I want a limit. In this case, I want it to be no limit, because I don't want there to be a limit on the amount of things that I can add to the calendar or the database. And finally, it's going to ask me if I want to show it on the personal CRM. In this case, I don't really need to, so I'm just going to leave that off, and then click add relation. So I can now give this a name. So instead of personal CRM, I'm just going to call it person, because this is where I'm going to select which person from the CRM I'm meeting with. And if I then click on this box, it will now bring up all of the people within my CRM. So in this case, it's a coffee with Rachel, so I'm going to select Rachel, and it will add Rachel as the person. You can actually add multiple people, so if I click again on this plus, I can add more than one person if I want to. In this case, I'm just going to leave it as one. So if I now go back to the calendar, I do actually want to display those details of the person that I'm meeting and where I'm meeting them on the card. So I'm just going to click on these three dots, click on properties, and this will bring up all of the properties within the database. So in this case, I want location and person to display on the card, and I'm just going to rearrange the order by dragging location to the bottom, so it will look like this. So that's how it works. So you can add as many things to this calendar as you want. So again, just remember, you just need to click on the little plus button, and you can now fill all the details in here like this, and put in the location, and again, select the person that it's with. And that will come up like this. And that's it. That's how you can create a personal CRM in Notion. If you did find this video useful, please like and subscribe. You can also check out my pre-made Notion templates on my store. The link will be in the description box below.